The distant stars flicker as a young boy's dream becomes a terrifying reality. Liam Denton never imagined his quiet life would be turned upside down by an alien warlord and a mysterious, powerful artifact. With the Heartstone in his hands, Liam has the power to change the galaxy, but so does Varric, a ruthless tyrant who will stop at nothing to seize it. As danger closes in and the temple shakes with energy, Liam must make a choice: fight for survival, or risk everything to stop the dark forces that threaten to tear the universe apart. Will he rise as the hero he's always dreamed of? Or will the Heartstone's power be too much for him to control? Tune in to discover the fate of a boy who never thought he was destined for greatness. If you're new here, then please subscribe this channel and show thumbs up by liking the video. Now let's move to this wonderful story. Liam Denton had always been different from the other kids in his small village on the planet Lyris. While most of the children spent their days working alongside their parents, tending to crops, or fixing machines, Liam spent his time staring up at the stars, dreaming of adventure. He often found himself lost in stories of faraway galaxies, alien civilizations, and heroic battles, far away from the peaceful monotony of life on Lyris. But those dreams felt far away, just out of reach, and as much as Liam longed to explore, he felt trapped by the quiet routine of his life. His father, Marcus Denton, was a respected member of the village, a hard-working man who had dedicated his life to farming. Marcus always made sure that Liam stayed focused on the important things like school, chores, and preparing for the future. But Liam could never shake the feeling that there was something more out there for him. Every time he looked up at the sky, he imagined himself on one of those starships, flying across the galaxy, discovering new worlds. But those dreams were just that. Dreams. His reality was a dusty village and long hours working on the farm. "Focus, Liam," his father would say. "There's no time for daydreaming. Your mother would want you to work hard to help the family." Liam's mother, Alara, had passed away when he was just a baby, leaving a void in his father's heart that he had never really filled. Marcus rarely spoke of her, but Liam could feel it in the way his father looked at the empty seat at the dinner table, or how his voice would falter when he mentioned her name. Liam never knew his mother, but he could feel her absence in every corner of their home. One evening, as Liam sat at the kitchen table finishing his homework, his father entered the room, a tired look on his face. Marcus had been working in the HFY fields all day, and it showed. His clothes were dirt-streaked and his face was covered in a thin layer of sweat. "Anything interesting today, Liam?" Marcus asked, collapsing into the chair across from him. Liam shrugged, not looking up from his homework. "Same as usual, Dad. Just more math and history." Marcus sighed. "I know you want more than this, I can see it in your eyes, but you have to understand, life isn't all about adventures. It's about what you can do for the people around you, for the people you love." Liam nodded, though his heart wasn't in it. He knew his father was right. He loved him and wanted to make him proud. But the idea of spending his whole life here doing the same thing over and over felt like a cage. As the night wore on, Liam's thoughts drifted to the stars once more. What would it be like to fly among them? To visit distant planets and meet new beings? He could picture it so clearly in his mind. Him, standing on the deck of a spaceship, gazing out at the endless expanse of space, the galaxy spread out before him like an open book. Just then a loud noise from outside startled him. He looked up, confused. It wasn't the usual sound of wind or animals. This was something different. His father stood up abruptly, his expression tense. "What was that?" Marcus muttered, heading toward the door. Liam followed his father outside, squinting against the sudden change in light. The sky was dark, with only the faint glow of distant stars illuminating the landscape. But something else was out there, something he couldn't explain. It was a streak of light moving far too quickly for any normal flying vehicle. Before either of them could react, there was a deafening crash. The ground beneath their feet shook as a large object slammed into the earth just outside their village. The impact sent a cloud of dust into the air, and Liam could feel the tremors through the soles of his boots. "Stay here, Liam," Marcus ordered, his voice sharp. "I'll check it out." Liam watched as his father ran toward the crash site, but he wasn't about to stay behind. He had never felt this much excitement, this much fear, and this much curiosity all at once. What was that thing that had just fallen from the sky? Was it a ship, a weapon, or something else entirely? Ignoring his father's command, Liam followed, staying just out of sight but close enough to see what was happening. As they neared the crash site, Liam could make out the shape of a ship, a sleek, metallic structure, barely larger than a small shuttle. It was smoldering at the edges, its exterior scorched from the impact. But despite the damage, there was a faint glow coming from within. Liam's heart raced as he crept closer, trying to peer through the smoke. And that's when he saw her. She was tall, with glowing violet skin and piercing golden eyes. Her hair shimmered like liquid stardust, and her features were unlike anything Liam had ever seen. She looked like a person, but not like anyone he had ever known. She was beautiful, otherworldly, and radiated a calm, quiet strength. She was struggling to move, her arm hanging at an odd angle, but when she saw Marcus approaching, she managed a faint smile. "Help me," she said, her voice soft but firm. "I need assistance." Marcus stopped in his tracks, staring at her in disbelief. "Who? What are you?" he asked, his voice filled with awe. The alien woman's lips curved upward as she tried to rise to her feet. "My name is Zephyra. I am from the planet Vora. My ship has crashed and I require aid in repairs." Liam's mind was racing. An alien, stranded on their planet? He had always dreamed of meeting one, but never in a million years had he imagined something like this happening to him. Zephyra turned her gaze toward Liam, her golden eyes studying him. "And you are?" Liam swallowed, his voice barely above a whisper. "I'm Liam. I don't know what's going on, but I'll help. I can help." Zephyra's eyes softened. "I'm glad you are willing. I can teach you many things, Liam. But first, we must repair my ship." Marcus finally snapped out of his stunned silence. "We can help you," he said, his voice more composed. "But what about your enemies? Are you safe?" Zephyra's face darkened for a moment. "I'm not alone, but they will not stop until they have what I carry, and I cannot let them have it. I need your help, Liam." Liam's heart beat faster. This was it, the adventure he had always dreamed of. And it was happening right now, before his very eyes. The days that followed were a blur of excitement and nervous energy for Liam. Every moment felt like a dream come true. He had never imagined that his quiet life on Lyris would be shattered by an encounter with an alien. But there she was, Zephyra, sitting in their living room, nursing her wounds from the crash while explaining her situation in more detail. Zephyra's ship, it turned out, had been damaged in an attack by a ruthless warlord named Varric. He was the leader of a band of mercenaries that roamed the galaxy, and he was after something far more dangerous than any simple technology. Zephyra carried with her an artifact known as the Heartstone, an ancient relic of her people that held immense power. It was said that whoever controlled the Heartstone could manipulate the fabric of space and time, granting them the ability to reshape reality itself. Liam's heart raced as she explained this to him. He had heard stories of powerful artifacts in his books and games, but hearing about something so real, so dangerous, made it all seem even more thrilling. But Zephyra's expression was somber. The Heartstone was not just a tool, it was a burden, and it was the key to everything Varric wanted. "Varric must have it," Zephyra said, her voice quiet but filled with an underlying urgency. "He will stop at nothing to possess it. If he does, there's no telling what he could do." Liam, wide-eyed and full of curiosity, couldn't help but ask, "What's so special about the Heartstone? Why is it so important?" Zephyra's gaze met his, her golden eyes filled with a sadness that made Liam uneasy. The Heartstone was created by an ancient civilization. It's not just a weapon. It's a key to untold knowledge and power. If someone with the wrong intentions uses it, it could tear apart the very fabric of the universe. Liam shuddered at the thought. He had always believed in the grandeur of space, the possibilities it offered. But he had never realized how fragile it truly was. Marcus, who had been listening intently, spoke up. "And what do you need from us? How can we help you keep it safe?" Zephra's eyes shifted to Marcus, and for a brief moment Liam saw a flicker of something he hadn't noticed before, something like gratitude. "I need to repair my ship. It is the only way I can escape Varric's reach, but I cannot do it alone. The parts I need are scattered across various planets, hidden in places that are not easy to access. I need your help to find them." Liam's mind whirred. He wasn't sure what kind of trouble they were getting into, but his sense of adventure was quickly overtaking any rational thoughts. "What do we have to do?" he asked eagerly. Zephra smiled, but it was a smile tinged with sadness. "You will need to come with me. We must travel to the planet Valtor. It's an ancient world, long forgotten by many. But there, in the ruins of a once great city, lies the first of the parts I need. It's a dangerous place, full of mercenaries and rogue traders, but we will be able to find it, together." Liam glanced at his father, who seemed deep in thought. He had never been one for adventure, but he trusted Zephra. He could see it in her eyes. She was no ordinary traveler. She was a warrior, a survivor. "I don't want you to go," Marcus said, his voice heavy. "It's dangerous out there. You're still just a kid, Liam." Liam shook his head. "I know, but this is what I've always wanted. I can help. I can learn." His voice was filled with a confidence he didn't know he had until that moment. Marcus hesitated, his stern expression softening. He could see the fire in Liam's eyes, the same fire he had once had when he was young. Marcus knew he couldn't stop him. If his son was determined, there was no convincing him otherwise. "Fine," Marcus said, his voice a reluctant surrender. "But we'll do this together. We'll keep each other safe." Zephra nodded, a grateful expression crossing her face. "Thank you, both of you. You do not know how much this means to me. We will need to move quickly. Varric's forces are closing in on this system, and we have little time." That evening, they prepared to leave. Marcus made sure they packed enough supplies, and Zephra shared what little knowledge she had about her ship's systems. She taught Liam how to use some of the basic controls and explained the mysterious energy source that powered it, the same energy that was connected to the Heartstone. The next morning, they set off toward the outskirts of the village where Zephra's ship was hidden in a remote clearing. As they walked, Liam felt the weight of what was happening. He had no idea what dangers lay ahead, but he could feel the thrill of the unknown pulsing through him. The ship stood before them, gleaming in the early morning light. It was nothing like the sleek, modern vessels he had seen in books. This ship was older, battered and scarred from the crash, but it was undeniably beautiful. The design was elegant, its curves and edges smooth and organic, almost as though it were alive. Zephra led them to the cockpit, where she showed them the controls. She explained that the ship could travel faster than light, but the Heartstone was essential for powering the necessary systems. Without it, they could never make it past the warlord's forces. Liam was full of questions, but he held them back, knowing that Zephra had a lot on her mind. Instead, he tried to absorb every piece of information she shared, every detail of the ship's design. This was his chance to learn, to finally live the adventure he had always dreamed of. As Zephra powered up the ship, the faint hum of energy filled the air. The engines roared to life, and Liam's heart skipped a beat. They were really doing this. They were going to travel the stars, and maybe, just maybe, they would have a chance to stop Varric before he could unleash chaos on the galaxy. But as the ship lifted off, Liam looked out the window and saw the small village of Lyris shrinking beneath them. It felt like he was leaving behind everything he had ever known, and yet a part of him couldn't help but feel that this was just the beginning. The real adventure was only starting. The journey through space felt surreal to Liam. As the ship soared through the cosmos, the distant stars stretched out in every direction. The darkness of space alive with endless possibilities. Every inch of the ship seemed to hum with energy, as though the Heartstone itself powered not just the ship but the very air that surrounded him. Zephra guided them with practiced ease, but there was a tension in her eyes that Liam couldn't ignore. "Where are we heading first?" Liam asked, unable to contain his excitement as he looked out at the ever-expanding view of the stars. "We're headed for Valtor," Zephyr replied, her voice steady but with a hint of hesitation. "It's an old, forgotten world, once a thriving hub of trade and culture. But now it's nothing more than a desolate wasteland home to criminals, scavengers, and the last remnants of an ancient civilization. We're looking for something in the ruins, something that could be the key to fixing my ship." Liam nodded, his curiosity piqued. "What exactly are we looking for?" Zephyr turned her golden eyes on him, her expression serious. "The energy core of a device called the Nexus Array. It's a powerful piece of technology, one that can amplify the Heartstone's abilities and allow us to escape Varric's grasp. Without it, we won't be able to fight back against his forces. The problem is it's hidden deep within the ruins of an ancient city. We'll have to move fast. Varric's mercenaries won't give us any time." The ship sped through the galaxy, passing through nebulae and asteroid belts, each turn in their journey adding another layer of tension. Liam could feel the weight of their mission pressing down on him, but at the same time he couldn't help but marvel at the adventure he was living. This was more than just an opportunity to explore the stars. This was about survival. This was about standing up to a force that threatened everything. As they approached Valtor, the ship descended into the planet's atmosphere, the view below a swirling mass of dusty landscapes and jagged mountains. The once thriving cities were now ruins, half buried under centuries of sand and dust. The air was thick with the scent of decay, and the silence of the planet was oppressive. "This place feels wrong," Liam muttered as he looked out of the viewport. Zephyr's lips pressed into a thin line. "It's not what it used to be. The planet's energy is unstable, and the ruins are full of dangerous traps. We'll need to be careful. Trust me when I say nothing here is what it seems." They landed just outside the remnants of what once had been a grand city. Towering spires rose like the broken bones of a forgotten giant, their once beautiful facades now crumbling and overrun with vegetation. The streets, once paved with polished stone, were now nothing but rubble and dust. Liam could feel the weight of history pressing down on him as he stepped out of the ship. The remnants of this lost civilization loomed around him, a silent testament to a bygone era. He wasn't sure what he had expected, but this place felt abandoned. The very air seemed to hold its breath, as if waiting for something. Zephyr led the way, her steps sure and steady as she navigated the ruins. Liam followed, his senses heightened. He couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. Every creak of metal, every flutter of leaves seemed to be amplified in the eerie silence of the ruins. After several hours of navigating the desolate streets, they reached the entrance of an ancient temple. The structure was massive, its doors adorned with intricate carvings depicting stars and planets. Zephyr approached the doors cautiously, her hand brushing against the ancient symbols. As she did, the doors creaked open, revealing a dark, shadowy interior. "This is it," Zephyr whispered, her voice barely audible. "The Nexus Array is hidden within, but it won't be easy to get to. We'll need to find the central chamber." Liam swallowed, his nerves on edge. The air inside the temple was thick with dust and decay. His heart pounded in his chest as they moved deeper into the ruins. The walls seemed to close in around them, and the faint echoes of their footsteps reverberated throughout the vast halls. Suddenly, the floor beneath them trembled. Liam froze, his senses screaming. What was that? Zephyr's eyes narrowed as she looked around, her body tense. "We're not alone, stay close." A low growl echoed through the temple, followed by the sound of something moving in the shadows. Liam's breath caught in his throat as he turned to see a pair of glowing eyes staring back at him from the darkness. A creature, half beast, half machine, emerged from the shadows, its massive form blocking the entrance they had just come through. Liam took a step back, heart racing. "What is that thing?" "A guardian," Zephyr said, her voice steady despite the danger. "These creatures were once programmed to protect the temple and the Nexus Array. They won't stop until we're gone." Liam's mind raced. He didn't have much experience with fighting, but he wasn't about to stand back and let Zephyr handle everything alone. He looked around frantically, his eyes landing on a piece of debris, a rusted metal pipe. "Stay behind me," he shouted, gripping the pipe in both hands. He had no idea what he was doing, but adrenaline was surging through him, and for the first time, he felt like he was ready to fight. The creature lunged forward with a screech, its metallic limbs clanking against the stone floor. Liam swung the pipe with all his might, narrowly missing the creature's head. It retaliated with a swipe of its claws, sending Liam stumbling backward. Zephyr reacted quickly, pulling out a sleek blaster and firing at the creature. The shots hit their mark, but the creature was too tough, its metal skin shrugging off the blasts. It advanced on them, unfazed by the assault. Liam's heart raced as he watched the creature charge at them again. He was scared, but he wasn't about to give up. He needed to protect Zephyr. He needed to help her. "Liam, get back," Zephyr shouted. But it was too late. The creature lunged forward, and in that split second, Liam did something he never thought he'd do. He hurled himself at the creature, swinging the pipe with everything he had, aiming for its exposed eye. The creature howled, in pain as the pipe connected, and for the first time it staggered back. Zephyr fired again, and this time the creature fell to the ground with a deafening crash. Liam stood panting, his body trembling. That was too close. Zephyr placed a hand on his shoulder, her expression softening. "You did well, Liam. You showed bravery when it mattered most." Liam looked at her, a sense of pride swelling in his chest. For the first time, he felt like he was truly part of this mission, like he had something important to offer. As they continued deeper into the temple, Liam couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning of their journey. The Nexus array was close, but so was Varric. The stakes were higher than ever, and they had no idea what dangers lay ahead. But Liam knew one thing for sure. He was ready to face whatever came next. The journey deeper into the temple was nothing like Liam had expected. It wasn't just the physical strain of navigating through the labyrinthine halls, or the constant fear that lurked in every shadow. It was the overwhelming sense of history that weighed heavily on them. The walls seemed to whisper ancient secrets, their carvings depicting events and battles from civilizations long forgotten. Despite the oppressive air, Liam couldn't help but feel that there was something sacred about this place, something that transcended the dangers they faced. Zephyr led the way, her movements graceful and precise, even in the midst of the ancient temple's ruin. Liam followed closely behind, his thoughts still racing from the encounter with the guardian creature. He had never fought before, never had to put himself in harm's way, but now it felt like second nature. It was as if everything he had dreamed of had finally caught up with him, and in that moment he realized he wasn't just a boy looking for adventure. He was a part of something much bigger. The deeper they ventured into the temple, the more Liam noticed the strange energy that seemed to pulse from the walls. It wasn't just the power of the Heartstone, it was something older, more primal. The further they went, the more it felt like the temple itself was alive, watching them. It was as if the ancient civilization that built this place had infused it with their essence, leaving behind a legacy that could never be truly extinguished. As they approached the central chamber, the air grew heavy with anticipation. The doors to the chamber were unlike anything Liam had ever seen. They were massive, made of an unknown black stone that seemed to absorb the light around it. On the surface, intricate symbols were etched into the stone, glowing faintly in the dim light. Zephyr stopped in front of the doors and placed her hand against them. For a moment, nothing happened. Liam watched her, intrigued. "What's happening?" he asked. Zephyr's face was set in concentration. "This is it. The Nexus array is inside. But to unlock it, we need to activate the temple's ancient mechanism." She stepped forward and pressed her palm firmly against the stone. The symbols began to glow brighter and the air around them hummed with energy. Slowly, the massive doors began to shift, groaning as they parted. Liam's heart pounded in his chest. The chamber beyond the doors was bathed in an eerie light, and the faintest sound of moving machinery echoed from within. Zephyr motioned for Liam to follow. Stay close. The array is in the heart of the chamber, but it won't be easy to reach. As they entered the chamber, the first thing Liam noticed was the massive pedestal in the center. On top of it, a glowing crystal stood, radiating a soft blue light that seemed to pulse in rhythm with the air around them. The heartstone was connected to the pedestal by an intricate network of wires and energy conduits, like a lifeline that tied the ancient technology to the very heart of the temple. But before Liam could step closer, a low rumble shook the ground beneath their feet. He looked up, his eyes widening in disbelief. From the shadows emerged a figure, tall, menacing, and wrapped in dark flowing armor. The figure's eyes glowed red, and its voice was like the scraping of metal. I knew you would come for it, Zephyr, the figure hissed, but you are too late. Zephyr stepped forward, her face hardened with determination. Varric, she growled, I won't let you take it. This time you lose. The warlord, Varric, laughed, a chilling sound that echoed through the chamber. You think I've come this far just to lose, Zephyr? No, this is my victory. You've led me right to the power I've been searching for. The Heartstone will be mine, and with it I will reshape the universe as I see fit. Liam felt a chill run down his spine. The man before him was no ordinary mercenary. Varric's presence radiated malevolence, his very being an embodiment of greed and destruction. Liam knew this was the moment they had feared. Varric was here, and he was not going to give up without a fight. Zephyr turned to Liam, her eyes steady. Get the Heartstone, Liam, I'll hold him off. Liam hesitated, a lump forming in his throat. But no time for doubts, Zephyr snapped, pushing him forward. Go, I'll protect you. Liam's mind raced. There was no time to argue. He ran toward the pedestal, his heart pounding in his chest. As he reached for the Heartstone, the air around him crackled with energy. He could feel the power of the artifact thrumming beneath his fingers. For a brief moment, everything seemed to stand still. Then, as his hand made contact with the crystal, the world exploded into chaos. The ground shook violently, and the entire chamber seemed to come alive with energy. The Heartstone pulsed brighter, and for a moment Liam felt a connection, an overwhelming sense of knowledge and power flooding his mind. He saw visions of distant worlds, of galaxies born and destroyed, of civilizations rising and falling in the blink of an eye. It was too much for a young boy like him to comprehend. But he held on, feeling the strength of the artifact surge through him. Behind him, he could hear Zephyr and Varric clashing. The sound of their struggle was deafening. Zephyr's blaster fired in rapid succession, while Varric's laughter echoed through the chamber. You cannot defeat me, Zephyr, Varric shouted. The Heartstone is mine. I will reshape this universe in my image. Liam gritted his teeth, focusing on the Heartstone. He could feel its power, but he knew he couldn't let Varric have it. Not now. Not ever. With every ounce of strength he had, he pulled the Heartstone free from its pedestal. As he did, the entire temple seemed to react. The walls began to crack, and the ground trembled as though the very foundation of the building was falling apart. Liam staggered backward, clutching the Heartstone tightly in his hands. It burned with an incredible heat, but he held on. Zephyr turned to him, her face a mix of fear and pride. Liam, you have to stop him now. With the Heartstone in his hands, Liam felt a surge of confidence. He didn't know how or why, but he knew that he was the only one who could stop Varric. He stepped forward, the power of the Heartstone radiating from him. Varric. Liam shouted, his voice steady despite the fear that gripped him. This ends now. Varric turned to him, his red eyes narrowing. You think you can stop me, boy? You're nothing but a child. Liam's grip on the Heartstone tightened, and, with a deep breath, he focused. The air around him crackled as the Heartstone responded to his call. The ground beneath Varric's feet began to shake, and the energy in the chamber surged violently. Varric's eyes widened in surprise, but it was too late. The Heartstone unleashed a wave of energy so powerful that it sent Varric crashing to the ground. His armor shattered, his body convulsing as the energy tore through him. The warlord let out a final scream before he vanished into the void, consumed by the power of the Heartstone. Liam fell to his knees, exhausted and overwhelmed by the energy that had flowed through him. The temple was silent once more, save for the sound of his heavy breathing. Zephyra approached him, a relieved smile on her face. "You did it, Liam. You saved us all." Liam looked up at her, his chest heaving with exhaustion. I didn't know I had it in me." Zephyra knelt beside him, her expression softening. "You're stronger than you know, Liam. We all are." As the ruins of the temple began to collapse around them, Liam and Zephyra made their way to the exit, the Heartstone still in Liam's grasp. The universe had changed, and so had Liam. He had faced his fears and become the hero he had always dreamed of. And as he stepped out into the light, he knew that this was just the beginning.